the right-hand side to the big black three-masted ship here called the Warrior, first of our iron-hulled warships. Built in 1859 on the River Lee, commissioned in 1860. It was built on an 18-inch thick Berber teak frame that after they bobbed the iron plates onto, the ship was steam-powered as well as sail. In its day, considered to be so formidable that nobody wanted to go anywhere near it, it never even got to fire a shot in anger.
There you go.
It was the pride of Queen Victoria's fleet. It was head of the Red Fleet.
What did you say?
Where Britain had three fleets. The red, the white, the blue.
Red, the white, the blue.
Warrior was built by a company.
You can't even see yellow white.
No. They had their own little football team. Over the years it becomes West Ham.
Yay!
This is why their nickname is the Hammers or the Irons, because of the Thames ironworks.
Oh wow! Look!
They keep looking over the starboard side, the right-hand side. Everything you're going to look at is over the right-hand side there.
Which one's which?
R08 is Queen Elizabeth, R09 is Prince of Wales.
Which one's that one?
Don't know.
I can't see from here.
No.
Morgan, are you okay?
This is the corner of South where we get to start to make the mess of Elton. Very brave. Tower. This semaphore tower. King's Harbour Marston. We call them the KH General. They have total control of every vessel.
Oh my god! This is nuts!
I got all the water coming off the carrier.
I can't see nothing!
To the right of us is
Big Lizzie!
Elizabeth class carrier.
Massive.
65,000 tons. These are the largest carriers in the Navy. And they were mostly built on site. 39 metres wide at the waterline, 73 metres wide on the top deck. The full quota of aircraft is 36. They can deal with up to 64. Most of the aircraft F-35B Lightning II multi-role fighters. The rest, every type of helicopter we're going to have.
Wow.
Crew complement varies from 679 up to 750 people.
Oh, it's 1,000.
There's purpose-built accommodation for up to 250 Marines.
Wow.
Then when you add the pilots, the air crew and the technicians, you're looking at 1,600 people.
Wow.
Reaching speeds of 30 knots, operational range 10,000 miles.
Wow, amazing. Oh, fucking hell. Once we get past
Now the
Prince of
tugboat
Wales.
Yeah.
is just going across to
Going
pick
down.
up the
Yeah.
Okay.
fuel bar.
Understand.
Sorry, you're mad.
Royal Fleet Auxiliary.
Yeah.
We're coming up to the north corner now. Portsmouth Harbour naturally was a very, very shallow harbour.
Yeah.
Back in Napoleonic times, when you got here and the tide went out, you'd run aground, literally, onto miles of marshland and
Right,
back
go
in those
down.
times
Okay.
we had at our disposal Navy ship. It had been commandeered into the Navy to help with the Falklands War. It was a Royal Fleet Auxiliary ship, so merchant navy. It proved so useful during those times, they kept it and were still using it up to about 2010. A forward operations vessel, troubleshooter. Her nickname was Land Rover of the Sea. They used to boast that she could go anywhere and do anything. She's had her day now. She's been sold to the scrapyard in Turkey. On the corner is Warship Tyne. Warship Tyne is one of 3 river-class patrol vessels. All named after the rivers. You've got Tyne, Mersey and Severn. They were our fisheries patrol vessels. The Royal Navy no longer deals with fisheries protection. This has been handed over to a civilian authority. So now these ships are being painted up like this, so you can recognise them easily as being offshore patrol vessels. All of this part of the harbour was dug out by hand, by thousands of clothing on its prisoners. As were the 5 dry docks over to the right of it. We're headed down to Fountain Lake, just approaching Fountain Lake Corner, where we have 2 frigates today. 2 of the Navy's 11 Duke-class Type 23s. They started building the Type 23s mid-80s up till the mid-90s for anti-submarine warfare. But like all frigates in most navies, they just don't go around looking for submarines 24 hours a day. These ships get involved in just about every theatre of operation you can throw at them. They've had great success at anti-piracy patrols around the world. Same level of success looking for the drug runners. There's a big humanitarian side of things to these ships. Over the years, a number of times they've been asked to alter course, head to the islands or countries recently devastated by natural disasters. These ships get there quick. They get first aid teams ashore. They set up forward operation bases to remain help alive. So they're doing a lot of work on HMS Kent, and we're just coming out to the Iron Duke. Frigate 234. Now look how spotless the Iron Duke looks. She's not long finished a refit. They took her out of service, put her into a dry dock, and they spent 2 years going through that ship inside out, top to bottom. So now she is absolutely spotless. This is the next ship that will be going out on a long deployment. Now when we get to the front of the frigate here, you see a massive shed that says HM Naval Base Portsmouth. That used to be the site of BAE Systems. Sadly, we don't build ships here anymore, but we do have the contract for the maintenance. Over in the far right corner, the dry dock, is HMS Daring. She's had new engines, new generators, a strip down and rebuild of the missile tracking system. Now the Wave Knight here was a Wave class fast fleet tanker. You would rendezvous with this ship out at sea, and she could top you up with fuel if you needed food, water, ammo or spare parts. It was all on board here. Now she wasn't quite big enough to take a look after the big aircraft carriers. This is done now by the much bigger, newer Tide class tanker. So sadly she's been taken out of service and mothballed. Now the Victoria here sailed into port on Tuesday. This is the second largest vessel operated by Serco. Serco are a civilian company that support our Royal Navy all over the world. Now, as the Victoria can carry a certain amount of troops and cargo anywhere, she's a worldwide support ship. The round stone tower here was built by some of the Napoleonic prisoners digging out this end of the harbour. We got them to build it for us so our guards could get up on the top and try to keep some sort of watch over them. They really were scattered like ants everywhere. If they could cause any problems, trouble or mischief, they would. Now the tower is the end of the Royal Naval Quay, and you're looking straight over to the right at the commercial port of Portico. Portico are the second biggest importer of fruits and vegetables in the UK, second only to Dover. In particular, they bring up to 70% of Britain's bananas here. We're fully booked with cruise ships for the next 2 years. Now down the bottom, Hebridean Sky. She's a fantastic little cruise ship. Only 90 metres long, 30 metres wide, 120 guests. She's an adventure ship. I think this time she's heading to the fjords, but sometimes she operates out of Ushuaia in South America. Now this is the Vasco da Gama. So it's a Portuguese ship, obviously named after the Portuguese explorer. Now this is the first time this cruise ship's been in port. She's on a round Britain cruise, but she will be heading, when she finishes, she'll be heading over to Hamburg. Then I think her next trip will be to Cape Town. That'll be a good one. Nice ship. I think it's Portuguese Greek run. It's the first time in the port. Now we've got first of the lunchtime Brittany ferries in the port. Look, the Mont Saint-Michel. She came across on a 6.5-hour crossing from Calm, and literally a couple of minutes ago, while I was talking to you, I heard that in the background might be HF radio. The next Brittany ferry is 1 hour away. Massive. It's called the Galicia, and she's just coming across from Santander in Spain. It's a 33-hour crossing. Nice one. Still Falkland War. For years it sat over there on Whale Island, being used by cadets as a training and an accommodation ship. The cadets all passed through the grey building HMS Excellent, home to the 2nd Sea Lord, headquarters to the Navy. All of the land you're looking at over there is an island, big, called Whale Island. This side of the harbour was all dug out by hand by prisoners, and that's where they were dumping the dirt until it built that, literally. As I'm talking to you, the tide's coming in, high tide today is about 20 to 4. If you look over to the right, all that water in there. This morning, most of that was dry land. 16.5 miles of mud and sandbanks. Over the last few hours, the tide has come in and just covered over the mudbanks. It is still really, really shallow in there. You can never cut through that middle. You will run aground quickly. I'm just waiting till we get this, because it's still a bit whited out over there. I'm trying to get a little bit closer first, but if you're looking ahead, there's some, just over to the right, there's a set of grey cranes. Well, look over to the right of the grey cranes. Can you see the frigate? It's quite camouflaged in with this murky weather today, but that's the old Monmouth sat over there. She came back from the Gulf 2 years ago, was very quickly taken out of service and put up for sale. Now it looked like Greece were going to buy it. At the last moment they changed their mind. They buy a French ship. So the Navy said, okay, strip from Monmouth of anything that can be used elsewhere, and it's sold to the scrapyard in Turkey. The set of grey cranes over here are known as UHAF, UHAF, the Upper Harbour Ammunition Facility. This is where they take warships so they can lift the missile, torpedo, ammunition on or off the ship safely out the way here, where it interferes with nobody else in the port. Well, we're going to make our way out into the channel a bit further. Once we get out into the channel, hopefully we'll be able to get some good photographs of the carriers. Now straight in front of us, over the other side of the harbour, covered in green bushes and trees, they call it Burrow Island officially. Ask the locals, this is still Rat Island. For a short time, this is where they were dumping the dead bodies of prisoners who died digging out the harbour into a pit over here, until it was totally overrun with the black rats eating the corpses. The local people were terrified. They feared the return of the plague. They commissioned the Navy to clean up the island. During the Second World War, hidden in amongst the bushes over here were homing pigeon lofts. Some of these little pigeons carried messages back over the English Channel from France, working for the SOE. Please look look over the left-hand side into the gap between the two carriers at HMS Victory. Now, if you're wondering why the Victory is covered in scaffold and plastic, she's halfway through, well, she's over halfway through a 20-year-long restoration project. What they're going to do next, over the next 5 years, the intention is to plank by plank remove every outer bit of timber from around that ship right back to its main frame and replace it all with new oak. Launched in 1765 at Chatham, back in the day, it was a first-rate ship, one of the finest fighting ships available. So every time you wanted to build one, you had to cut down and destroy 100 acres of your best forest. Just to build that ship, you need 6,000 whole trees, 80% of which were oak. It became famous at the Battle of Trafalgar. This is where Nelson is seen by a sharpshooter and shot. Carried down below decks before he dies, he asks his friends not to bury him at sea. He wants to go back to his beloved England for a Christian burial. What are they going to do with his dead body? There's no refrigeration, and they won't get home for months. They pickled the dead body in a big barrel of French brandy. 3 months later, the ship gets back, they lift off the lid. It's actually done a very decent job of preservation. The body is removed from the brandy and taken to London for the funeral. Now folks, back in those times, do you know how much a barrel of brandy cost? Because not wanting to waste one little drop of it, the officers and crew decide they're all going to have a little drink in memory of their fallen comrades. It doesn't take much imagination to guess from where. They said on the day, everyone on board the ship comments on its full-bodied flavour. Now this is the OFJ, the oil fuel jetty. And over here, tankers carrying NATO fuel for the warship's tie-up. They bring it down from the oil refineries of Scotland. The fuel is pumped out of the tanker along the pipeline to the storage tanks ashore. Once the tanker is empty, back to Scotland they go for more. If you look underneath the jetty, you're looking straight into Gosport Marina, literally home to millions of pounds worth of small leisure and pleasure craft. The section at the end here, in Devon Quay, is a boat builder. There's been a boat builder of one type or another over here for close to 200 years. Up until the early 60s, a very famous boat building company called Camp and Nicholson were here. In the 30s, Camp and Nicholson had designed and built the fabulous ocean-going J-class racing yachts for the America's Cup, mostly owned by very wealthy Americans now, who choose to keep them in much sunnier climes. If you look over the left-hand side, the port side, Spinnaker Tower, 170 metres or 560 foot tall. As they were building it for the millennium, they wanted to name it Millennium Tower. Only from day one of its construction, problem after problem, setback after setback, it's eventually completed in 2004. So they call it Spinnaker Tower, as it's supposed to look like a spinnaker sail. The estimated build cost had been £6 to £8 million. 4 years behind schedule, this rocket stood 34 million. On a clear day, they say from the platforms, you can see 23 miles or more of continuous coastline from. we're just looking at the harbour entrance. It's totally whited out. You can't even see the Isle of Wight over there. This is the inbound Victoria Wight, just come across from Fishbourne on the Isle of Wight. You can only see Spit Bank Fort. Now just over to the right of us, Spice Island, steeped in history. Over there, Sir Walter Raleigh lands the first tobacco, potatoes and spice plants when he comes back from the Americas in the late 1500s. Years later, they are press ganging hundreds of people into the Navy from here. Some of these people, well, they don't ever come back because you were very lucky if you could survive a whole 5 years of service. Now we're just coming up to the first of the two stops, Gunwharf Quay. So the shops, cafes, bars and restaurants. If you are leaving here, could you please just check? Have you got all the belongings and possessions you brought aboard with you?